Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today on this YouTube channel. Uh, if this is the first time that you've been here, I welcome you, and please hit subscribe and like if you enjoy this content. I'm super excited to be with you today. It's been a little while since I have recorded a video, so I'm happy to be back doing this. Today's topic for the YouTube video is the consequences of holding on to guilt. One of the things that I truly wanted to say is that feeling guilty from time to time is actually very normal. It is very normal. When it starts to become a problem is that when you hang on to that guilt for like weeks and months and years, that can have a huge, huge impact on our lives. And the thing with guilt is that you can think that, okay, you know what, I'll deal with that later. I'll deal with that later. And you kind of stuff it down and you figure it doesn't go anywhere. When in actual fact, guilt itself can manifest and leak out into ways that we've never expected. So, I am Juanita and I am Juanita. Apparently, I also don't know how to speak today. I am Juanita. I am a forgiveness and self-care empowerment coach. And my mission is to help individuals work through their feelings of guilt, shame, resentment, regret, pain, anger, all of these things that come from uh, unresolved forgiveness. I also put a huge part into self-care because as you work through these very sometimes jarring emotions, it is hugely important for you to take great care of your body, great care of your mental health, and just be kinder and more loving to your body. So let's get started with today's topic, the consequences of holding on to guilt. So, as I said, um, it is natural to feel guilty from time to time. Guilt itself is a very complex emotion, and it can have a huge impact on your mental and physical well-being. And holding on to these feelings for a really long period of time can lead to several negative outcomes. So, today I'm going to share with you 10 potential consequences for harboring guilt. The first, and probably honestly one of the most important, in my opinion, is mental health issues. Chronic guilt can contribute to mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, and the constant reminding and replaying in your mind over what you're guilty for or things that you should or shouldn't have done can create great amounts of self-blame and can enlarge feelings of worthlessness and hopelessness. I just want to mention here at this point, too, is that one of the most dangerous parts of holding on to a lot of guilt and shame and those feelings of self-blame and worthlessness and hopelessness, it can lead down to a very sad path of leading to suicide. And This is one of the reasons why it became a forgiveness and self-care coach, is because suicide has affected my life, and it changed how I look at things and the way that I look at things. So if this is something that you are carrying, please reach out. There is a host of individuals who can help you to see and help you to release those feelings, and that there is a better approach and a better day coming. So, upon saying that, let's move to number 2, physical health problems. Guilt can manifest physically. It can lead to issues of headaches. It can lead to insomnia, a weakened immune system, and the stress actually associated with guilt can also increase the risk of heart disease. So it's not just mental, it's not just emotional. It can lead into huge things that will affect you physically. So guilt, as you can see, is not just a little thing. So number three, impaired decision making. So when you're overwhelmed by guilt, you can struggle to make clear and rational decisions. And this can lead to a cycle of poor decisions that reinforce that feeling of guilt and regret and resentment and shame, because you can become frozen in making a decision, or you can make such snap decisions that it just ends up reinforcing that whole guilt cycle. So number 4 is damaged relationships. Guilt can create a barrier in relationships, leading to communication breakdowns and distance being created. People withdraw from loved ones or become very apologetic, which can again strain those connections and that relationship. When you are feeling guilt all the time, it's hard for you to see a loving and amazing relationship, because you're always worried about messing it up. You're always worried about, okay, if this person didn't like this, well, then all of a sudden it becomes all about you and the guilt that you feel. It is normal for there to be mistakes in a relationship. It's normal for you to make mistakes, and you don't have to feel guilty. When something happens in a relationship, you don't have to make yourself small. And those feelings of guilt tend to make us feel small. So number 5 is a decreased self-esteem. How can you feel great about yourself if you're always feeling guilty for something, or there's guilt holding you back? Constantly feeling guilty can have a huge impact on your self-esteem and your self-worth. Individuals, you may see yourself as inherently flawed or unworthy of happiness and success. And that is so not true. You are worthy. You can succeed. You are worthy of an incredible life. And that feeling of guilt can make you feel smaller and smaller and smaller. And you don't have to live like that. You don't have to feel that way. Number six, Avoidance behavior. In order to cope with the feelings of guilt, sometimes you might engage in avoiding other people, avoiding new opportunities, avoiding family, avoiding friends, avoiding pretty much everything. But avoiding itself is not just the problem. It can also lead to procrastination or escapism, which can prevent you from taking control of what's actually going on within you, or just constantly finding yourself in a state of hiding. And you are amazing and you don't need to hide. You deserve to live the life that is meant for you in such a huge way. So, unfortunately, guilt has a tendency to, again, try to make us small. Perfectionism is number 7. Guilt can drive you towards perfectionism, where unfortunately, if you have ever tried or been stuck in that cycle of perfectionism, you have set yourself up to be unrealistically incapable of achieving everything that you want, because everything has to be perfect before you do it, before you launch that career that you're looking for. Everything has to be perfect. You have to be perfect before you're going to find that incredible partner, or start that family, or take that course to improve. You're stuck in the cycle of perfection. And let me tell you, perfection does not exist. There is always something flawed in something. Perfectionism is just something for us to hide behind. You try really hard to not make mistakes. And then when mistakes happen, you feel even worse. You feel guilty. You feel shame. Why did I even try that? Of course, I'm not good enough to make this happen. Of course, I'm not. And again, that just keeps the ball rolling. Number 8, inhibition of blah, blah. Sorry about that. The inability to grow personally. Honestly, holding on to guilt will prevent you from personal growth and self-improvement. You become stuck in your negative cycles, negative mindsets, and it just goes over and over and over. It relates very much to the previous 7 steps that I've said. Guilt stops you from moving forward, and it doesn't have to. It really doesn't have to. Because if you're feeling guilt, if you've made a mistake, honestly, and I'll share this here with you, I have made so many mistakes, and I would hold on to the guilt of that for so long, until I realized that, I didn't have to. A number of years ago, I had made the decision to leave my town that I had spent many years in. A couple of things had happened. My beautiful daughter was now out of the home. She was living her life. My father had passed away. I was ready for a new start. I was absolutely ready for a new start. So I thought that I would, just really kind of make a complete change in plans. And I decided to go and live in Vancouver Island. Now, I'm an Alberta girl, born and raised, had maybe been to Vancouver Island once when I was a child. Um, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Vancouver Island, if you get the opportunity to go and check it out, absolutely, I believe you should. It is lush and gorgeous and amazing. But the problem is that I wasn't prepared. Uh, I just kind of went. And through, different events, I found out that number one, I was not an island girl. Number two, the pay scale that I was used to was not the same. And so I became very deeply, deeply, deeply in debt. And I was on this crazy cycle and I didn't know what to do. So I was also quite a ways away from my family. My daughter had joined me, but at that time we were not getting along. So that just compounded the guilt even more of what a mess I made of my life. Now, honestly, it was probably the best mess looking back. And once I forgave myself for making such crazy decisions, it turned out to be kind of one of the best things that I had done in my life. It did lead me to, when I came back to visit my family, I met my incredible man, and we have been very happy together, despite those poor decisions that I had made when I had moved there. Um, so guilt doesn't have to stop you. And like I said, I made some very foolish decisions that I ended up having to pay many years for in order to get my life back on track. But I don't hold that guilt anymore. It took me a while to forgive myself for making those decisions and getting myself into a tough financial decision. I had to pack up, admit that I had made mistakes, which was really hard, but it led me into better choices and a better life. So guilt doesn't have to stop you, and you don't have to keep reliving why, or, oh man, I really messed that up. Oh man, I'll never amount to anything. Oh man, um, you don't. And I can tell you, personal experience, some of those decisions were the best life lessons that I ever made. And I don't have any guilt for that. So, number 9, reduced productivity, meaning getting somewhere. Guilt can keep you stuck in not wanting to progress in whatever it is that you're doing, whether it would be your career, whether it would be in your schooling, whether it would be in life, period. Guilt can take away the motivation, the energy, your enthusiasm, your spark, leading to not wanting to do anything or not wanting to move forward in work, progress in your personal life, progress in your own personal development. You get stuck in these mindsets that you aren't good enough. And I'm going to keep repeating this over and over. You are good enough. You are amazing. And there is help for you. Also, the other part in not being able to progress is that the mental burden of guilt can make it incredibly difficult to focus and to perform your job, perform the tasks that you're doing. You can get distracted, or even you become so mentally tired, you just can't move forward. And number 10, and this is a huge one that I have found at a lot of the, I have found that it's a huge symptom of holding on to guilt and shame and all the other feelings that kind of keep us bogged down. And that is substance abuse. In an attempt to cope with our emotional pain of guilt, a lot of individuals will turn to substance abuse. And that in itself creates a harmful cycle, which can lead to, overdoses, guilt about that, guilt about drinking all the time, guilt about the drugs. And all of a sudden, you have walked down a path that's even harder to come back from. It is so essential that you don't allow guilt to fester and to move forward in that. And there is beautiful ways that we can overcome that, and beautiful ways that you can live a much more productive, joyful, loving, happy, wonderful life. And it begins with releasing. It absolutely begins with releasing. Understanding these outcomes highlights the importance of addressing and working through your feelings of guilt in a healthy and constructive manner. Getting support from your friends, family, mental health professionals, coaches, they are a crucial step in releasing guilt and becoming a much stronger and more empowered individual. I want to thank you today for joining me on this video. And if you have questions, if you have comments, concerns, you want to reach out, I am more than happy to help you. You can leave me a comment. And if you found this video helpful and inspiring, I would ask you to like, comment, and share if there are people in your life that could use this information, or that you think maybe would want to come and work with me to get you back onto that better life path. I would absolutely love to have a conversation with you. I will leave my links in the show notes, and reach out. You don't have to live with this. I have said this before. You do not have to live with this. And I would love to help you on your journey to resolving and releasing and letting go of something like this. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great one and a beautiful and blessed day. Bye.